Hello, my lovelies. Sorry for the little delay there. Good afternoon or good evening, good night, wherever it happens to be. We are live here on the GESARA show, Billy Gilles alongside of Peter Walker. And glad you all could join us here on this holiday. All right. And I have the con. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Right, okay, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the GESARA show. And welcome to another Sunday, well, I don't know if it's day or night or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. For me, it's a Sunday evening. And some interesting things have been happening this week, which we'll get into briefly. And from Birmingham, UK, I can see someone. Okay.
Yeah, I see Pennsylvania and Southern California.
South Wales, UK. Someone says
Mississippi.
good morning. Mississippi.
Texas.
That's right.
Maverick, Colorado. Arizona,
Belgium.
North Carolina, Oklahoma.
Lancashire, UK. Fife in Scotland.
Virginia.
Spalding, UK.
Amarillo.
Chertsey, UK. South Somerset, Sussex,
Scotland, Pennsylvania, Atlantic Canada there,
near Winchester, UK, Torquay, Devon. I've been there. Nice place. Germany, I've been there too. That's where I'm living. Sydney, Australia, been there. Durham, Edinburgh,
Nova
Cornwall,
Scotia, Canada, been
Coventry.
there. Yep. That's where my family came down through, was Nova Scotia, Canada. Yeah.
And
Missouri, of course, Houghton Joplin.
My children live Torquay, 200 miles from me. Okay.
Mars,
yeah. Mars a day. Yeah.
Is that M&M Mars or just Mars?
well,
West Virginia.
Maybe they're
Atlantic
using
City.
the Starlink from Mars. Upstate New York.
Oh,
Mars, Pennsylvania. Okay.
Well, yeah. All right. Mars, Pennsylvania. There you go. It could be. It's the outer spiral arm of the Milky Way. Yes.
Buckingham Palace.
Oh, get out. Get out now. Yeah, rods of God. Get out now.
Amersham.
All right.
I can see Sharon is in the corner. Hello there.
Yep. And I see Darren
for some reason, you haven't been showing up so often recently. I don't know why. Jupiter, Florida. Okay.
Claire and Dixon and David and Rod and Rio. Hello. Welcome, everyone.
Right, there we go, everybody. And I think we're the outer spiral arm of the Milky Way. Wow, that's a long way away.
Inner Earth. Okay, inner Earth.
Inner Earth, yes. Okay.
Inner Earth.
Oh, is that like from, what is it? Not Lord of the Flies, the...
when Jupiter aligns with Mars and peace will align the planets and love will steer the stars, right? Is that the way the name of the way the song goes? Is that right?
Yeah, I seem to remember the Age of Aquarius.
When you're when you're coming up through the fifth dimension, right?
Yes. Well, we're actually in the Age of Aquarius now, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We're actually in the Age of Aquarius.
Monty Python Galaxy song. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The Galaxy.
Terror.
I forget that. I forget that song right off the top of my head.
Yes, it's actually a very interesting song. It tells a lot of things.
True.
Right, maybe we should move on. And it's starting to get very complicated. The messages we're getting.
Where are we moving to?
Where are we moving to? Very good question. Well, first of all, I think the very first thing I have to mention, I got an email today from Stella, who is probably watching.
Here I am.
Oh, you're here. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So, hello, Stella.
Hello, Stella.
Hey.
So I heard you and your husband were had a car accident.
Oh.
Yes.
And you're now in hospital.
Oh, yeah. I see the hospital apparatus around you.
That's right. So I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that.
3 ribs and a fractured sternum. So, thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant.
No,
No.
I'm in trouble breathing, so it's all good though. All right.
All right.
Right.
Lots of healing
Okay.
energy towards you today, Stella.
I
You
think
and your
we
husband.
should all
Yeah.
offer our best wishes to Stella that she and her husband to have a very speedy recovery.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Very,
God my
very,
husband
very
is
much.
okay. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we need to get you on a
I'll
med
turn
bed
off
real
my mic
quick.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Med beds.
Oh boy.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool right now.
Right.
You poor dear. I know that
Definitely.
I know what it's like being in those beds. They aren't comfy
Yeah.
at all.
So do I actually. About 2 years ago, I had a minor heart attack, and I was in a hospital for 5 days as well. And so I know what it's like. Luckily, it wasn't too bad, but it was enough to keep me in hospital for 5 days, and I got a stint.
That's not
And
good.
since then, I've been more careful. I was just working too hard and not doing enough exercise and
Yeah.
eating the wrong garbage for too long. And so I learnt from that event. So I know what I
Yeah.
can sympathise with what it feels like to be in a hospital right
I
now.
realise how quick things can change. Things change in a heartbeat.
Yes, they
Yes.
do.
You know,
Yes, they do. Well,
yeah.
healing, love, and energy to you, Stella. We're all pulling
Thank,
for you. Okay, we're sending the high
thanks.
vibes out.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll continue listening. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
All
And I
right.
suppose we should try not to make you laugh too much today.
No,
I
no laughing
know.
too much. All
It's
right.
actually very good medicine, though.
It is
It
very
is
good
good. It
medicine.
is
Well,
good medicine unless it hurts. Yes.
yeah.
All right.
So maybe we
Okay.
should
Thank you.
make her laugh more. I don't know.
And and
Okay.
everybody's wishing everybody the heartfelt Memorial Day weekend blessings. I say with gratitude.
Mm.
Thank you very much for those who came before us and paved the way for our great freedoms. Thank you so very much. Very grateful and heartfelt. Thank
Into
you.
that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So thank you, Stella, for that. And so it's always hard when what someone in your midst gets hurt, and you always wish them the best. What else is new? Well, another thing is next week's show is going to be on Monday, not on Sunday. The reason being is that I'm going to a yearly event from Friday until Sunday called FedCon, and FedCon stands for Federation Convention. And as you might have guessed from that name, it is a Star Trek convention, and it's Europe's largest event, and it happens in Bonn, in Germany. I'm normally one of the people presenting at that show because of my work with Star Trek New Voyages, and I'm normally presenting one of our episodes there. This year, I'm just there as a normal visitor. Because we just didn't get anything ready in time for this year's event because I was just too busy doing other things. We'll be back there again next year with a new video. But it should be very interesting. And this time I'll be going round with a video cam, trying to get some interviews of people, asking them about what they would think about a Star Trek future. And that place is full of Star Trek fans. There's about 5,000 which go to that event. So it's a big event. And so I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to have my video. I'll be able to play some video, I think, next Monday when we do our FedCon special. But of course, we will still do the normal things of Intel and stuff like that. It's just a little bit of fun for those who appreciate learning about what could be our future. As depicted by Star Trek and other such events. If you want to look it up and find out what it's about, it's fedcon.de, fedcon.de, and you can look up about the event. It's in Bonn, and Bonn is like half an hour's drive from where I live, so it's not even very far.
Right.
So I don't need to book a hotel or anything this time. So that's next week. So not Sunday, it's Monday next week. Our show.
Right. Our show is going to be on Monday next week, not Sunday.
And we were also also considering whether Sunday is a good day to run the show. I'm saying that because I watched David's show today. Now, he did his show on a Sunday as opposed to a Saturday. And on a Saturday, he's got his show always full of people. On a Sunday, today, his numbers were down considerably.
Yes.
And I was thinking maybe that's the reason why our numbers are sometimes down on Sundays. So I was thinking that of maybe we move, not next week, but after that, to a Saturday evening at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. my time, which would be the same time as we normally start just on Saturdays. Is that something which you guys would like or not? No,
Saturday, Sunday, no, yes.
Well, that's 50-50 so far.
That's 50-50. We got another yes. Monday, we get another yes.
Any
yes,
day good.
Like Sunday, Saturday, no. Saturday, please. Yes, but I do like Sundays. Sunday, yes.
Mondays,
Saturday. All right, we're getting mixed reviews here. We're going to have to take
no,
a more serious poll.
I remember when we first started, we did put out a poll, and a lot of people did seem to prefer Saturdays to Sundays back then. In fact, some were complaining that we went for Sundays, although the polls did say Saturday was the better day.
Right.
So let's say maybe we'll do a test show on Saturday and just see how the numbers are.
Right.
Just see how many people come in.
Sunday.
That's right. Yes. But what we do is we look at the number of people joining in. At the moment, we've got 227. And remember, I opened this show up for everybody. It's not just members. Everybody I said, come and join us tonight. So if you're watching us for the first time tonight, very much welcome. This is the GESARA show. We talk about GESARA QFS, Intel, the currency reset, and what is happening in this world. And we do it with a little bit of humour, but a lot of knowledge. And we just try and make this the best show of its kind. Let me put it that way. We also try to be technically better. We have on the recordings, we have captions. We normally have an index. We're a little bit behind on the index. We still got to catch up on that, but we try our best to be the best show around of our kind.
Sorry, I'm having things fall down around me here.
Well, they kind of disappear off the things which fall down behind you, so we don't see it.
Okay.
And Billy and I, we've been doing this from the start. We originally started with the after show. We started the after show after Charlie's Insider Club. That's when we started. We did that for several weeks, and then we were kind of asked to go off and do our own show. So we did that, and that's why we've been running the GESARA show. We've been doing it ever since, and we're doing it because so many people say they love our show, and I think because if you guys weren't here, we'd go do something else. But you guys seem to love what we're doing, so we're going to keep on doing this and help you because we do think it's helping. And I think particularly at the moment we're on the point of the revaluation. A lot of things are happening in the background. I think shows like this are needed more than ever right now. Okay.
You know what? You don't want me singing? Okay. Is that a Tammy Faye Baker thing? No singing?
Well, yeah. Well, you see, since you didn't sing this, our numbers have gone up.
Oh, is that what it is? I'm not singing, so our numbers have gone up. Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. So no more singing for me.
Well, maybe we ought to just be better, choose better what, maybe you can do Frank Sinatra or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I can do Frank pretty good. But
yeah, well, there you go. We can be quite frank about that.
Uh-huh, exactly. Fly me to the moon.
Well, what about flight to Mars? Have we got some of our members out on Mars waiting there for you?
Chicago, that toddling town.
All right. Okay. You don't want to hear
All right,
me singing.
I'm digressing. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So what we normally do now is get into the Intel. So let us find out what is the latest news, what is happening.
Wait, we have to intro. We have to intro the Intel. You ready?
All right.
Okay, go ahead. It was the teletype going off.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought you had some special sound effect or visual effect or something all lined up.
Oh, you want the chopper report? I can
Chop-
do the chopper report. That's not a problem. I can get the chopper report going on.
By chopper, do you mean like a helicopter or?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. Let's get on to the Intel. It's probably as to people who are seeing it. Well, how many people are seeing us for the first time today? How many first-time viewers have you? Right, Rio Barrett, I see holding up a hand.
Okay.
Richard Marshall, I see holding up his coffee.
Trevor's going to back me up with his guitar. Great.
That's right. Yeah,
If I sing off key, I get the guitar across the back of the head. Is what the issue. That's the
right.
That's the
Okay.
deal. Okay.
Now, and I see a lot of black boxes where people have got their camera on, but it's not actually pointing at anything.
Right. Black boxes everywhere.
So maybe if you because we have the screen set up so that it only shows people with cameras on. But of course, if you're doing that, then we're not seeing other people who.
Jack's at home. Jack's at home, giving me two fingers. Okay.
Jack is at home.
Jack is at home. He's not in his truck.
Right. Okay.
We're getting the thumbs up. All right. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that.
Okay, great. Okay, let's get on to the Intel. Now, Mark Z puts a hat on when he reads the Intel. I take my headphones off. So, right. So first of all,
Well,
it's amazing what the mainstream media have kept from the public by refusing to investigate and publish allegations of satanic abuse. It's a topic we normally avoid as well on this show because it's just it's just not nice. So apparently there is an article from Kevin Annetts from the International Common Law Court of Justice in Brussels. Now, today I did some investigation into the International Common Law Court of Justice in Brussels because I couldn't find it. It's been mentioned many times, and I thought, well, look, Brussels is like 2 hours drive away from me, so I could go there if such a place exists. And so I've been asking around about whether it exists or not, and the answer is yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. So first of all, yes, it exists. No, it's not a company. Because a company would make it a corporate entity, and it's not a corporate entity because it's common law.
Right. Well, it's common law, so there is no real entity because
So that was the best information I got. And yes, there are people in Brussels there. There are people in Vancouver there, and they are associated with the Common Law Court in the UK. That's about as much as I could get. I could not get an address. I could not get a website. They did have a kind of website which has disappeared, but they do seem to exist, and they do seem to be doing things.
Okay.
So that's about the best I could get, because I was rather intrigued when I kept on reading this on Judy's posts about this International Common Law Court of Justice from Brussels. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, great, if they're there, maybe I can go and visit them and say hello or something.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah, you do a special show from there or something like that. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people there, but I can't yet find out where they are. But anyway, let's move on from that. Apparently, the CEO of Pfizer has been stating on Twitter even that states that they have a desire to have 50% of the world's population killed by 2023 with their bioweapon injection. And now, well, this is what we've been suspecting for a long while, but for the CEO of Pfizer to come out and say that. Now, I immediately looked at the Twitter link, and that post had been removed for violating Twitter's policies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was unable to look at the post myself. So I'm going to have to go to take the hearsay. I tried archive.org, which sometimes captures these pages, but it hadn't patched up that page either. Because I always like to double check these things. So let's just assume that that is correct. We have been hearing, because we've done a lot of research into the jab, so to speak, and have been hearing that is the real aim of the jabs. You got what's that you got in your hand? Is that a clock or something? A free clock?
Free bird.
Free. I didn't quite catch that word.
Free bird.
Free bird.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
what's knocking things. That's what's knocking things down around here is a free bird.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. That's what fell down.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. In 1992, in Rio de Janeiro, at the World Economic Forum, the UN approved Agenda 21 is a plan to depopulate the planet, and it was introduced by Bilderberg Dark Prince Bernhard, and apparently that's when they first started this plan of depopulation, according to this report. I mean, I haven't actually looked that up.
I was trying to do some redecorating yesterday, and it didn't work out as planned, and things are falling over because the dog keeps messing with stuff and things keep falling over. So that's what's going on. Sorry.
Okay, anyway. So I hope we haven't bored anybody so far. We're trying to get into the spirit of things. Most people are here because of the currency reset. So let's get on to that news. Mm-hmm. According to, this is 9 days old now, but apparently, according to Charlie Ward, on Friday the 20th of May, the tokens were issued and banks were given liquidity. So let's, on the 26th of May, Bruce stated that multiple sources have confirmed that notification for bondholders and Tier 4B could go out the evening of Monday, 30th of May, which is tomorrow. And the majority of Tier 3 banks would be Basel III compliant as of this weekend. And some countries were not yet asset-backed, but were required to be by Monday, 30th of May. So everything has been pointing for a long time to the beginning of May for this to happen. And we're very close to the beginning of May. It's the 29th of... the beginning of June. We're at the end of May right now, and it's like we got to the point where we really have to be watching very closely for messages, because on the 1st of May we could get the 800 numbers, which we call, or start getting those messages. We are going to be eagle-eyed looking out for it, and we will obviously send out messages on all channels as soon as we hear anything of that nature. And Tier 4B could be announced on the 1st of May, that we can make appointments. I've been hearing that we're expecting it to happen, that we can go to exchanges at a time when the world is looking in a different direction, and with the Platinum Jubilee of the Queen next week as well, I think that will be an excellent distraction for the world to be looking there while we go and do our exchanges. Because remember, With the exchanges, we go under an NDA, and it is best when we don't tell people that we were at exchanges or even that we got the money through the system. So, and from what I'm hearing, it's with the Iraqi dinar and everything, we're all basically waiting for the push button event where they say, now we're going to move forward. And I think that's when everything's going to happen very quickly. I think we're going to be shocked at how quickly the world switches to the new monetary system. And most of the people who are not listening to the Truth for Movement, if you like, are going to be very shocked when they find out that their money has suddenly changed without warning. At least we have the warning. And I also heard that the dollar is no longer going to be called the dollar. It's just going to be called the note. The reason being that when you fold the banknotes in certain ways, then you get satanic symbols.
Right.
And that is a reason that you just can't use the dollar anymore, because that currency has been tainted by these symbols. So the new currency for the USA will be the United States note, and we'll use the word note without the word dollar.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard as well.
That's right. So it'll be USN, not USD in future.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we won't be able to use that dollar sign anymore, I think.
Well, yeah, but that's okay. I really didn't like it much anyway.
An S with a line for it. Well, it's actually not that much different to the snake, which is used for health issues.
Yeah, the caduceus. Uh-huh.
I wonder if there's a relation there. I just don't know. If anybody knows about that, maybe you can write in the chat.
Mm-mm.
And as we always have to say, the exact time of the switch is something which nobody knows exactly. We're all guessing. It's going to be decided on by the quantum computer, based on how ready the world is.
They can't hold it off for that much longer. I really don't think so.
So now the US has already been changed over to a constitutional republic according to 1776 Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the world is following, I believe, in June. And that is very interesting. I was at an event yesterday. I went to a museum in Bonn with some friends called the I just can't remember the name of the museum. I think it's like a history museum in Bonn, and they had an exhibition there on Nazi Germany and the end of the war and what happened. So I was very interested and paid a lot of attention to that. And because I've taken interest in common law, and one of our friends who was joining us at that museum just happened to be a very well-trained lawyer. He knows a lot about law. He's a great expert on it. And so I decided just to ask him a few questions. I asked him a few questions about basically the constitution of Germany, whether the Schaef laws are still in effect. The Schaef laws are the laws which came into effect after the Second World War. They were the military laws imposed upon Germany, because Germany then came under military law immediately after the war, and there were a set of rules that were issued by the four nations: America, United Kingdom, France, and Russia, and they were called Schaef laws, Shaeff. And so I asked him, are these laws still are they still applicable today? Over 70 years later. Because I thought, well, if he's such a good expert, he's going to know about this. I was actually quite taken aback to the fact that he knew all about it, and he said, yes, they are. He also knew about the fact that Germany does not really have a constitution since the reunification in '89, and no, I think the reunification was later than that. I think it was '99. But because a mistake was made in the way the transfer was made from basically the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic into one state, Germany actually lost its constitution, and it's basically just a corporation. So I asked him about that because I thought, well, if he knows about the Schaefer laws, maybe he knows about this too. And he did. He confirmed that Germany is that the original basic law from Hitler's time is actually still valid in Germany, because the new basic law in a lot of aspects is not valid. Now this is very interesting for people living in Germany and maybe not for the people in the rest of the world. But let's put it this way: right now, Germany is still under the armistice, and they're sending weapons to Ukraine, which breaks that armistice. That means that Germany, it could be invaded by Russia and nobody would be able to come back to them because they broke the rules of the armistice.
Correct.
So it makes it for a very interesting legal situation in Germany. And as I'm living in Germany, in Cologne, it's a topic which interests me quite a bit. It was just very interesting for me to get a highly accomplished lawyer confirm that these things I've been hearing about and reading about are actually true. And so even Nostradamus. Does everybody know who Nostradamus is?
Yes.
Some no, not some maybe a little bit. Nostradamus was a French philosopher from a long time ago, about 300 years ago. I can't remember the exact year. Who made a lot of predictions about what's going to happen in the future, right up to the current time. And for this year, he apparently wrote, because he wrote his stories. You could define him best as like a middle-aged Q, if you like, from a Q from the Middle Ages. And a lot of his prophecies have actually come true.
Yep.
And what he's saying for now is that one day the bear and the eagle, which would signify the Russia and America, if I understand that correctly, will be friends and will rise against the dragon and overcome it. Well, I think that pretty much describes what's happening
that describes exactly what's happening for sure.
And I think it was the 1600s, somewhere around there. He was already writing that. And you can determine the date. There's complicated ways of determining which dates he's referring to, but there's historically there is a lot of things he has correctly predicted in the past. And in fact, a lot of things have been discovered that he predicted them in retrospect. That means after they've happened, they then find the verses referring to it.
Right. Yeah.
Which doesn't take anything away, because the text was written in the 1600s or whatever, and we're still finding today the meaning and the timing. So let's go on. Before the war began with Ukraine, the United States was sending $300 million per year to Ukraine. Okay, as like help or whatever. Probably a lot more than that for the biolabs, but that's maybe a separate thing. Today, the USA is sending $100 million a day to Ukraine.
It doesn't mean anything. We have no money to send anyway. It's all coming from the Federal Reserve. Let them spend what they have. It's all air money anyway.
And this is to the country which until recently has even officially been considered one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. And this at a time when Americans are struggling. The same is happening in Germany as well, where I'm living, and in the UK. Tons of money is being sent to Ukraine. And the people at home, in the home countries, whether Germany, UK, USA, whatever, are struggling, and they're not getting the money, they're not getting the funding they need. And the Ukraine is not part of NATO. Ukraine is not part of the European Union. So why do you think it has suddenly become so important to send this money to Ukraine? There are 19 other wars happening in the world which they don't give a damn about.
Right. And it's like, oh, we need to secure Ukraine's borders. What about our southern border?
Yeah, that's right.
Not following this. Okay. You're hypocrites.
So,
of course, the biolabs that are over there, all of the stuff that they're doing with the money and the nefarious activities.
The real reason is because of the corrupt deep state and what they're doing in Ukraine, and they're afraid that Russia will be able to uncover all the terrible things they have been doing with child trafficking, human trafficking altogether, adrenochrome and all the other terrible, and the biolabs were creating agents to kill people. All this is coming out, and this is why Russian media has been banned everywhere. And
oh yeah, they have it all already. We're just waiting for it all to disclose. That's
right, and Russia has already been presenting evidence at the United Nations.
Yeah, and at the International Court of Law.
That's
as
right.
well, outside of the United Nations.
So
there's
when you
no
understand
refuting
that,
it anymore.
If you look at the leaders of all the European and American and Western governments, you'll find they have nearly all one thing in common. And that is that they are all took part in the Young Leaders Program of the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is controlling all these things, and that is what's controlling the narrative. And that is why they are so worried, because if Ukraine goes the way they're fearing it will, and the way we're hoping it will, then all these people will be exposed for all the nefarious things they've been doing.
Yep.
And that's when we move to GESARA. Because Ukraine is the epicenter of corruption for the political establishment. Victor Pinchas, George Soros, and Ihor Kolomoisky, I'm not sure if my Russian's quite right, were all funding deep state agendas worldwide, all based out of Ukraine. We know their ties to the Clinton Foundation and liberal politics in America.
Mm-hmm.
So if Trump was going to truly drain the swamp, he would have to tackle the corruption in Ukraine. The oligarchs have funded their own militaries in previous color revolutions. Trump wouldn't be able to take them down without a fight. So if Trump is going to clean up Ukraine, he would likely need boots on the ground to do it. Enter Putin. That's what Putin is doing.
Right. But Trump couldn't take it on head on because people wouldn't believe him. It has to come from an outside source. All right. Other than from the Trump administration or people associated with Trump. So.
And another thing, do you remember when Trump was saying he knew where all this vaccine stuff was coming from? And he used to say, it's China.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we always thought he meant China.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out there's a town in Ukraine called China.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that is where there's some biolabs.
Mm-hmm.
We were all misled by that
China,
one.
spelled C-H-Y-N-A.
C-H-Y-N-A.
Yes.
So that's right. I can see people writing it in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all misled by that one, but it was still hidden. And of course, we hear that Trump talks in codes quite a bit. So what else do we have here? It is no secret that Putin hates Soros, as he banned him from Russia long ago, and it's also no
Mm-hmm.
secret that Putin despised the deep state
Mm-hmm.
tactics of implementing colour revolutions to overthrow pro-Russian leaders and install ones that would play ball with the deep state. It's speculated by many that Putin could be working with Trump in the fight against the deep state. I'm pretty sure that those two are working together.
Oh yeah.
Because do you remember when Putin handed Trump the football?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Apparently, there were lots of USB sticks inside that football,
Mm-hmm.
which had
I
a lot
understand.
of.
I understand. He gave the actual ball to his son Baron as a present, and Baron is the one who's checking out all the stuff in
And
the
Baron is his son.
ball. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know whether he really went to Baron or whether it was just an excuse.
Oh, Baron is a computer whiz. Baron is he's a computer genius.
Right.
Actually.
Okay.
So it may be interesting to see exactly how much he has found out and has distributed things and has been working behind the scenes with his father.
Interesting. It's interesting. So, lots of interesting things. As you can say, a lot of things which Trump says has double meanings,
Mm-hmm.
and often the meaning we hear is not the one which is meant.
True.
Which is coming out more and more.
All right. What else we got?
So let me see. It's speculated by many that Putin could be working with Trump in the fight against the deep state, and it's hard to argue with. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So think of the brilliance that might be taking place right now.
For sure.
Boots on the ground were likely necessary to fully remove the problem in Ukraine. Yes, I'm sure they were. But Trump couldn't invade Ukraine with US troops.
Nope.
Somebody else would have to do it. However, if somebody like Putin were to do it while Trump was president, it would make Trump look weak and the media would have a field day.
Well, yeah, that's why they had to wait until Trump was out and actually stepped aside for just a moment and let Biden take the blame.
Yeah, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. All these pieces are falling into place.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's brilliant, the plan. So what better time to clean up the mess in Ukraine than with Biden in office? Kills two birds with one invasion. You make the Biden administration, the MSM, look like fools. Well, taking on the deep state in one of the most corrupt countries of the planet. Putin is simultaneously helping Trump to serve up red pills while fixing a problem that actually benefits the USA and the rest of the world,
Right.
the denazification of Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
The Nazis were really never taken out. They just moved around, and
Yeah.
they kept their power structure in place, and were waiting to rise up again. And they
of
have
course, if you
very
look up
slowly
people-
over the years.
People like what's the guy who runs the World Economic Forum?
Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab.
His father
I
was a
recently
Nazi.
saw a report that someone who looked into his history, and I think his father was actually had a high position in the SS in Germany.
Yes, that is correct. Mm-hmm. That is correct.
So anyway, Biden corruption. I think we know enough about Biden corruption. Don't need to talk that. Japan and Germany were very close during World War II, hence the total destruction of both countries, with the Hellfire bombing in Germany at the end of the war, and the two apparently atomic bombs that dropped on Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I call it postcode bombing to destroy all evidence of our past. It says here Hitler belonged to a secret society. Occult Order of the Green Dragon. I know that occult things were very popular back then.
Oh yeah, very much so.
You just have to watch the film Raiders of the Lost Ark, where that is brought out to quite a big extent.
Mm-hmm.
And that film is, although fictitious in itself, is based on a lot of truth. And Germany at the time were being liberated with the occult knowledge. From 1880 to 1910, with an occult revival becoming mainstream. This, I believe, is the real reason for the war, to kill the knowledge and keep it for themselves. And on a Fox News interview with Ukrainian women, Ukrainian woman, this woman stated that they were not only are they fighting for Ukraine, but for the new world order. Well, that's right. That's what the Ukraine is all about, for the new world order.
It's all tied together.
It all ties together. So, now the ape pox or monkeypox or whatever you like to call it is supposed to be a follow up to the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm hearing is that people are just not buying it. I mean, even the people
It's
who
shingles.
religiously watch the news on TV are saying, "Look, we're not going to go through this all again. This is so obviously a money making scheme for big pharma. If that's all they understand, it's still enough."
Right, and they've been caught, exposed out there, showing off photos of people with shingles and passing it off as monkeypox. All right,
fact,
which is
a lot of
total
the pictures that have been
BS.
shown have been found in reports from years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same photographs. So they're just digging up historic pictures and re-releasing them.
Right, and all it is fear porn.
It's
that's
fear
all
porn, exactly.
that's all it is. And
because
they're
this
trying
is how
to
you control people, in their opinion, by
Mm-hmm.
making them afraid.
Right. And the more people who are afraid, the more people are going to run around, and say the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling.
That's right. Yeah, it's much easier to make people afraid than it is to win them over to something. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing has been based on fear.
Right. And they do it. And again, you're absolutely right, Janine. They do it all the time with a lot of other things. They show bombed out buildings and things of that nature, war torn areas, and it's footage from years ago. It's not
That's right.
real.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
It's the same thing over and over and over
I've
again.
seen some of the mainstream media news coverage here in Germany, and a lot of the bombed out buildings and things have been shown out to be from Syria or from other countries where there's been wars, and they're just saying it's in Ukraine, because in reality, all that Putin is destroying is the biolabs and that Nazi army's places, military locations. He's not attacking the population at all. But of course, the deep state wants people to believe that Russia is somehow killing the population of Ukraine. Why would he want to do that? Then most of them are Russians.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. He's not trying to commit genocide. He's trying to get rid of the Nazis that are there, and he's doing a good job of it, despite what the mainstream media.
Oh
is
yeah,
saying.
I mean, he's doing a very good job of bringing down the deep state in Ukraine, and that's what's really happening. And what people, but here in the news, I think worldwide in the mainstream media news, it's all being portrayed as if Russia is doing some kind of genocide on the Ukrainian people, and the poor people are being killed. And whereas in reality, the only people being killed are the people involved in their own in genocide themselves, preparing biological weapons, that kind of thing.
Right. It's the same. And Steve, you were absolutely right. The same way they attacked Assad, saying he was doing chemical weapons against his own people. It was total BS.
That's right.
It was all CIA operations that were doing all that. Okay. The reason why they went after Assad is the same reason they went after Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi and others. They were trying to kick the bankers out and
That's
go
right,
to
yes.
their
It's all
own
about the
asset backed. It's all about the money. That's all it's
That's right.
ever been about.
Historically, if you look at the countries which have been attacked, they're all countries which, in some form or another, wanted to get rid of the petrodollar and sell oil in their own countries or the euros or in some other currency than the US dollar. And when that happens, then the Americans go in, destabilize the country, and either kill or kick out the guy trying to do that. And this has been going on for 50 years or whatever.
Right. It has. And there's been people that tried to bring it out into the forefront before and have gotten whacked by it.
Well, that's right. Yes. I mean, look at what's happened to Libya. Since they kicked out or even killed Gaddafi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a total shambles now. I mean, Gaddafi was a powerful leader, and he needed to be powerful. And sure, he did some things which were not nice, but that was the only way to keep that country under control. There's a lot more people dying in Libya now than there ever was under Gaddafi.
Right, and the thing about it is that the people of Libya absolutely loved Muammar Gaddafi. All right, he wasn't doing atrocities against his own people, not in the slightest. So it was all just BS. It really was. All right, what else we got, Peter?
So let's move on. Another popular topic is holographic med beds. They are now replacing hospitals and will be available to the general public for everyday use. Healing will be a quick process that everyone will have access to. By fully restoring one's DNA, we can restore all health problems, including missing limbs, cancer, and vaccine damage. And that was stated apparently by the 19th vice president of the next government in the USA, John F. Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been hearing on medbeds is that they have been installed in a lot of places, and it could be a matter of weeks before we are able to start using them.
Right, and Dawn, whenever we say we're tossing out things here, we don't know exactly when. All right,
that's right.
They have not been able to totally sequester the rollout of the med beds. All right, we've seen them, and they have been coming out, and pictures of them have been coming out, and that's because of people's curiosity and wanting to find out the facts behind them. We know they're being rolled out. We know that they're being tested right now. We know that people are already getting treatments in them. The question is, where are they, and how soon are they going to be rolled out to the general public? That is a good question. I think they're going for people and children and whatnot who have been abused first, people who are in dire need. And it's all controlled by the military. When it will be rolled out to the public, don't know. But if you can imagine what's going to happen when this technology is actually released, and how many people are going to be clamoring for it and wanting it to be for them and them alone. All right, it's going to be a massive stampede. So you have to roll it out slowly. You can't just say, here it is, and then millions of people are at your doorstep overnight.
Right. I just saw someone write in the chat that another reason for Gaddafi getting kicked out is because he was trying to introduce a gold-backed currency.
That is correct.
Which makes a lot of sense as well.
That is absolutely correct. All right. So, let's open it up, get into everything here. Tamara, go ahead, dear.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Tamara.
How are you doing, Tamara?
Hi. Pretty good. Well, it's Tammy. Just call me Tammy. I don't know why my Zoom says Tamara. It's Tammy.
Okay.
Well, you can rechange it if you like.
I know I need to do that, but life happens.
Life happens.
So I wanted to to ask Billy, because I did put it in the chat, and I think a few other people are having questions, and I think one of them was you about the Simon comment last night.
Mm-hmm. Simon made some comments saying that he thinks that he wants to have CC members and their Zim and whatnot stay with CC and not going out on their own. And that they would have problems trying to vet millions of people around the world with Zim notes at these redemption appointments, all right, and whatnot. I'm calling BS on this. I'm thinking that is a control maneuver to keep people within CC obedient to CC. All right. I've been having a problem with some of the things that I have seen come out of CC here recently. Okay. That points me to believe, all right, that they are trying to control the process in as much way as they possibly can without getting themselves into trouble. Okay. I like I keep saying, I put my faith in no man. All right. At all. All right. And some of the things that Simon has been saying, some of the things that Charlie has been saying, some of the things Juan O'Savin has been saying, Ron Giles, you name it. Okay. That have rubbed me the wrong way in the past. I'm like, resonate. It doesn't resonate with me, and I'm like, no, something's not right here. People are letting their egos get in the way. There was a big controversy that has been started in between Lynn Wood and Mike Flynn, okay, over one prayer that Mike Flynn did back in October, and people called it Luciferian. And there are people who will sit there and pick apart every little thing that a person will do, all right, to try and create some sort of controversy in order to puffer up themselves, in order to get more clicks, more likes, more people following them by causing controversy. All right. If that's all you're all about, go away. I have no use for you whatsoever. The more you bring it up and the more you drive controversy, the more I'm not going to listen to you, because I don't feel that is of God.
Well,
no.
Let me.
And it divides us.
It does divide us. I have a little now. I'm in an awkward situation. I didn't watch that video of Simon, so I don't know what he said. So it's very difficult for me to comment on that. But I do know that we have a lot of Connecting Consciousness members on our show. And I certainly do not want to start any controversy with Simon Parkes, because up to now I've loved everything he's put out, and so I don't know what is behind that. I have been hearing that there are certain things happening in the background we're not hearing about, which are very nefarious and maybe we shouldn't hear about. So maybe there's just something happening behind the scenes which we just don't know about. So I would have problems being saying anything negative about Simon Parkes. Certainly,
I love Simon.
Investigate it.
I've always loved Simon. I've always loved his talks. He's one of the people, until I met you two, that I really trusted from the beginning.
Absolutely, yeah. And I trust Simon Parkes too.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what he meant by it, but he said, 1 million people being vetted and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so there's 6,000 to 7,000 redemption centers. There are people in that 1 million that don't have projects, that just want to get their income and then, provide money for other projects. So, I mean, in that way, vetting those people, I can see that process. But people like me who have actual projects that I know this area needs, the alliance can't take care of every single 7 billion human beings. There's only 1 million of us. I mean, that's not very much.
Yeah, that's right.
I think they need all of us.
I personally think they do need all of us, and they do need our ideas. Because they have the money, but we're the ones who have the ideas, the concepts, the projects, and we're actually going to go out and we know what we're doing. They can't do
Hmm.
but they can provide us with the money we need.
Right,
So,
right.
so I think saying only CC projects should get the money, or only someone else's projects, I think is short-sighted, and I don't see that happening.
Okay.
Because certainly, I have two of my own projects, and
Right.
those are the ones I'm going to be presenting. I'm not
Hmm.
going to. I'm not going to. What I have a little bit of trouble with is those people who do not have projects, just want the money,
Yes.
and have no intention of doing anything humanitarian, and
Be
I
at most,
totally
careful.
agree.
will say, "Look, just give me some in any old project. I'll just pick one at random. It gives some extra money to them." I don't know if that's really in the spirit of the process.
Right. And that might
Right.
be what he means by vetting. And I agree with that. I mean, not to make anybody feel bad, but if you really don't have a project and all you need is the income, then let the people with the projects go first so they can get out there and start the work, and then go through those who have Zim who don't have a project or whatever,
Yeah,
I just,
maybe I say it's very hard. It's not me making the decision. All I'm just saying is how
right.
I interpret it. Uh,
Exactly.
it's not. It's certainly not me who's denying anybody much needed funds
Mm-mm.
which they need for their
No,
family.
absolutely. We all
Um,
need money right now. All of us are hurting. We all need it. Absolutely. You
but if
know?
you just need money, there's dong, there's dinar, there's bolivar.
Hmm.
Those currencies are for those who just need to exchange money.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. That
and
can be
and with
done.
the Zim, I've always understood as about helping humanity, and it's
Hmm.
about getting the people with great ideas who just couldn't do them because they just
Right.
didn't have the funding. But great ideas which
Exactly.
help, because there are so many fantastic ideas out there which
Hmm.
are just dying for lack of money because they've been starved of money or been suppressed because
Exactly.
they don't earn
That's our
enough
problem
money.
here.
And I think that is what the Zim is in spirit about. About
Exactly.
I certainly I can let me tell you one of the projects I have I'll be
Okay.
presenting,
Okay.
and that is I've been associated with a German inventor who invented very high power optical microscopes,
Hmm.
and he was an alone inventor, and his microscopes are so good that a lot of people just don't believe that it can do that. For
Hmm.
example, I'll give you an example. If I came to your house and said, "Hey, I've got a Ferrari outside and it'll do 300 mile an hour," you'd say, "Oh, great! That sounds great. Yeah, let's go and give it a spin," sort of thing. But if I came
Hmm.
and said, "I've got a car outside, it'll go 3,000 miles an hour," you'll call me
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. And this is what
Yeah.
he had in microscopes. With microscopes,
Oh.
there is the law of optics, which limits resolutions theoretically to 220 nanometers. Now, nanometer
Mm.
is 1,000th of a millimeter. It's very small.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and in reality, with optical microscopes, you can't really get a usable image below 500 nanometers.
Hmm.
Okay? And 500 nanometers is a very poor contrasty image, very poor
Oh yeah.
contrast, but no
Hmm.
color, very shallow depth of field, a very unusable image.
Hmm.
And this guy called Kurt Ulbrich invented a microscope uh, based on his own research and his own brilliance as an engineer, which resolves to 50 nanometers with full color, using white light, full depth of field, and in natural light, and you can view living things like bacteria, viruses, and things without
Wow.
damaging them. Now that is
Wow.
so far away from what people normally know that a lot of people
Hmm.
just wouldn't believe it.
Right. Exactly.
So, so he's been trying to market this, and he's had a lot of people stopping him, and also he has his prices because he was building individual microscopes were so high that a lot of people who could have bought it just couldn't afford to it.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
so he unfortunately died in January this year, in his 80s, without having really made his microscope a success. Now I'd been working
Right.
with him since 2001.
Wow. So
And I've worked with his engineer as well, and we are the only ones who know how his microscope works.
right,
So
right.
my project is to make this microscope a worldwide success. Now, why is this
Yeah.
humanitarian? People will ask. Because with this microscope, if it had been mainstream, you would not have had COVID. Because you could,
Right.
scientists would have immediately seen what it was. Would have
Mm-hmm.
immediately seen how it reacted. And if you have a disease which comes up, you can put the disease tissue in a chamber, apply your medication, whether it be frequencies or pharmaceuticals or whatever it is, and immediately see in real time if it's working or not. You can find
Right.
solutions to
Exactly.
diseases within hours instead of within months.
Right.
And
Exactly. That sounds like a good idea.
that is very humanitarian in my opinion.
Right.
And so
And
my project
I
is to
don't want
bring that project to life.
exactly. And I don't want anybody in the chat room to think that I'm talking about them. I don't mean everybody in this room to me is dedicated. We all want to make this world a better place. And even the people in this group that have Zims, they still want to help with other projects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But like I said, 1 million of us to 7 billion people. And you got to figure how many of those people in that million actually have projects, or people like who are here on the chat who have a plan and they are truthers and they are ready to hit the ground running when they say go. How many of those people are there? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It
All
just
right.
set wrong with me. And I love Simon. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Timmer. Appreciate the
Right.
comments here today.
Well, what I would say is that if there's 1 million of us with projects, I don't know if it's that high even. They say there are 7,000 centres. That means that each centre has to see just over 14,000 projects.
Right. All right. So moving on here, Thomas, go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm a member of CC as well, and I listen to Simon as well. And I love Simon, but I think he's got this wrong, because
Yeah.
actually you got a million centre, you got 1 million people, you got 7,000 centres. If you take that over like a 10-day period, there's only so many appointments, and each appointment about 15 minutes. So if you allow half an hour, these centres could deal with 1 million people within about 10 days. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So I find that really strange for Simon to say that. We're in 3D at the moment, and we're trying to get to 5D. And only by having a massive shift, like empowering people like us and yourselves, can we then do humanitarian projects that will employ humanitarian people to do great things around the world. So I think these redemption centres are important, and we need positive comments. And I'm just disappointed in Simon saying that, and perhaps he might reflect upon it and come up with something different. But I agree with all you guys are saying there, and so I would just want to give you support. That was all.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you. I say
Thank you, Thomas.
the last thing we want is to annoy any CC members, or on the contrary, we love what the Connecting Consciousness is doing, and so far I've been very much in tune with what Simon's been saying, and I hadn't actually heard him, so after this show's over, I'll listen to that video. Maybe there is something in the background we just don't know about. And maybe that's the reason. It's very hard to say right now.
All right. But thank you, Thomas.
Another great person is Ron Giles. I don't know if you listen to him, but he's certainly a wonderful man. He comes up with lots of good intel.
Yeah.
And he is very much for these redemption centres, are a lot of people. And
Yeah, I look at Ron Giles as one of the major experts on the redemption process. Yeah, there are certainly some good people out there. I just think I just love the concept of people with good ideas being able to finally make them come out, because there's been so many things have been suppressed or just unable to come to light because of the cabal stopping them, lack of money, that kind of thing.
All right.
so just to finish on, I'm a great supporter of CC. I want to help them all, and my project is to help CC and lots of other things. I've got about 4 or 5 projects that are already ready to go. So
Right.
bring it on.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Thomas.
Bye.
All right. Karen Morton, go ahead, Karen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
I
Karen.
too was a little upset about the Simon video because I take to heart what he says, and I am a member, but I think the amount of people that are awake and trying to help humanity, I think that's why the meetings at the redemption centers are limited. You can't just spend an hour, hour and a half, or whatever. You have like 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To say what your projects are.
I heard it was 8 minutes.
What you're going to do.
Mm?
I'm sorry.
I heard it was 8 minutes we have.
Well, I know it's not very long because you just have a snippet of what your plan is and how it's going to help others. And that's why I thought the ET person was in there to see what your heart really is. So that happens spontaneously, I'm sure, as soon as you meet that person.
Mm.
So I just think that there's certainly enough to do for the people that are trying to help. And I don't think it's limited to any one group or whatever. I think it's entirely based on how your heart is and what you're really trying to do.
That's right. And I think it's very important that we practice in front of the mirror or with friends or whatever, and just make sure you can make a good story which people understand in 8 minutes.
Very concise, yes.
Very concise, and because I've been listening to some people's ideas, and after 8 minutes, I was still wondering what the hell is this about.
Right. Exactly. You can't drone on forever and a day. You have to get to the point, get it done.
That's right. Okay? Yeah.
Exactly. But
so just make a story, make it understandable in 8 minutes. Yes. If you can tell someone who's never heard about it in 8 minutes, that's good.
Yes. All right. And thanks again for what y'all do. And I appreciate the group.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. All right. Going on, Sherry.
Yes, it's you, Sherry. Yes, just switch your microphone on.
Okay. Hi. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I was next. Okay. And again, like everybody says, thank you so much for what you do. It's so much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My question is similar to all the conversation about Simon Parkes, but it wasn't his statement that troubled me a little bit. I listened to something last night that I'm not familiar to listening to, and I think it was called Nick News. Nick News, do you know that one?
Nick News. Ah, right. Nick Fleming, yes.
Is that who it is? Okay. Yeah, came across and I listened to it. Okay. And he said that there's no guarantee that the ZIM is going to be used for anything. He said that the Chinese elders have enough ZIM bonds and they might not use these. And I don't know. I just want you to weigh in.
Again, we get conflicting reports and conflicting statements from different people. All right. All of the intel that Peter and I have dug into says that we are going with the original plan. All right, which is the $100 trillion ZIM note is the preferred note for doing, humanitarian projects.
And carry on. Let me say about Nick Fleming. He's made a lot of statements in the past which have not panned out. Yeah. And it's not just us who are a little bit cautious with Nick Fleming's statements, but also Charlie says the same. About Nick
I'm glad that you're saying that. Okay, I'm glad that you're saying that because obviously he presented himself and his position differently.
So of course he does. Yeah, he's been around a long time. He's been doing this a long time.
These people that keep coming out and doing things and saying controversial stuff and refuting stuff or going back on things that they've already said before. Like I said, some of these people don't know exactly what they're talking about. And they do it to stir up controversy. They stir up so that their name gets out there more, so that they can get more likes, so they can get more people following them. All right. I really don't care how many people follow me. All right. Or follow this show or what have you. All right. If you want to listen to me and walk with me on my journey for a while, great. But at the same time, I'm not going to try and stir up controversy with other people. Okay, because of what they said or what what other people are trying to think they said. What we're telling you is, out of the ZIM note that is supposed to be used for humanitarian purposes, you'll get 30 cents on the million. Okay, which on the $100 trillion note comes out to $30 million for your own personal use. Everything over and above that is supposed to be used for humanitarian purposes. The dong, dinar, bolivar, and all of those other currencies can be readily exchanged at the current exchange rate after it's all said and done with, or at your appointment. That is what I've been told from the get-go. That is what I'm continuing to believe. So anybody else says anything else, you can believe them or not. I don't care. I honestly don't care.
Guidance. You guys are my go-to guidance for this. So I'm going with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm going with what God has put in my heart and what God is telling me.
Let me put it this way. I mean, Nick Fleming does know quite a few things, and I do sometimes put out things which he says, but everything, I say he's not the highest of the people to believe, and there are certainly things he does say which are correct, but he said so much in the past which has just not happened, and so I'm a little bit cautious as to saying that he's the person to believe.
That's great. If I may, I have two shorter questions, if I may.
Sure. Okay, carry on.
Okay, thank you. This is easy. About the binder, a long time ago, I know you said that we should have a binder. So I have my binders all set up. I have 4 of them just to make sure. And I included in the back, tell me if this was a bad idea. I put a summary of the budget. And then I also put another copy of the budget in the binder that's itemized and detailed. Should I leave that in or take that out?
No, leave it in. Leave it in.
Leave it in.
Leave it in?
You can always hand them one of the binders. Then, if at a later moment they want to look at more detail at your project, then they will find it in the binder. That's the whole point of it.
Right.
You don't have to present everything. You make a short presentation which gives the story, right. But the backup information is in the binder. That's where you put the backup stuff, which they look at if they want to see it.
Okay, and is that all of the backup stuff? Is just the budget part?
Well, no. What you feel is needed to back up your story. In other words, where your idea came from, who it's benefiting. The financials, basically what you want to do. Don't make it too long. I mean, I know they're not going to read a 45-page report, but if it's 10, 15 pages, that's probably about right.
Okay.
One more thing, if I may. I was considering a secondary project, and I don't know if it's necessary. I bought other currencies to exchange because I know several people, friends and family that need help, financial help, and I want to just give them the money. So should I make that into a second humanitarian project, or should I just give them what I redeem that I want to share?
I would just take the money that you get either for your personal use or from dong, dinar, or whatever currency, and just allocate them something of that personally. I wouldn't make that into a project if it's just a personal gift to someone. Right. I don't think they want to be bothered with something like that. You're getting so much money. If you're getting 30 million for the Zim, I mean, if your friends need 2 million, I'm sure that's not going to hurt you that much.
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much for your help.
All right. Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate the comments here today.
Thank you.
Going on to someone who has a cell phone number ending in 2020. Doesn't say a name. 2020.
I can say.
Oh, there she is. I see her.
I'm so sorry. I was out on the porch. I just have a quick question, and I guess
what's your name?
Been going on. Oh, my name is Doreen. I'm sorry.
Hi, Doreen.
Hello, Doreen.
Hi. Just as a quick question. This whole thing has been so stressful. For the first time in 2.5 years, I'm taking my husband with a neurological disease on a little vacation from the 1st to the 5th. Now, if it comes out on the 1st, I'm not going to be here. I won't be back till the 6th. Are you still going to be able to exchange?
Yeah, I think so. Initially, we just got to make contact to make an appointment. When the appointment is something you negotiate on that call or however you're contacting with them.
Oh, so you still have time. They're not going to just cut you off if you're not there in a day and a half.
No. Within this 10-day period, you make the appointment. When you go to the appointment is a matter of negotiation, because you can't fit everybody in at the same time.
Right.
No, to be respectful, because I have so many things at home, and I got the Zim before we even knew all this was going to happen. I wrote a letter, and I made copies, 3 of it, to present it, to give my Zim to a humanitarian project that I think, not that I'm going to do, but I have specifically what it would go to. Is that fine too? And I have it written out to pass out to them.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're supposed to have a concept showing what you want to do.
I'm not going to do the project. I'm donating the project, but I have something I wanted to be donated to. Will they accept that, or that will be disrespectful?
Well, remember, you're going to be under an NDA, which means that you can't actually then tell the people giving the money to where the money's come from.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to be their choice. I just suggested, say I said I wanted to go to specifically food, air, and water. But they can decide where that project goes, where that's most needed. It could be in Africa. It could be anywhere. You know what I mean?
I think that's going to be very vague. They want to know specifics. It's just like saying, "Oh, give me some money and I'll help someone." That's not really saying much. I think you're gonna be a bit more specific about projects than that.
Okay, so then I should just revise the letter and just. Yeah, because we've heard so many odds and ends, like you don't really have to have a project in order to redeem your money. That was the original part of this. Now you're saying that you have to have a project in order to redeem it?
Well, it's either that or give it to one of the projects that they are offering, because they will have.
Right, that was my intention. Yes.
But I basically think you either go there with a project or be prepared to accept one of the ones they have. But to say, "Oh, I just know a few people who might do something good."
Oh no, it isn't about anybody I know.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
no,
right.
Yeah. So I'm going like you. Like, say your project came up and I wanted to donate my Zim to that, I could.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. All right. So that's good. So I won't know. And then you said it will be within 50 miles of your home.
That's what. Obviously, if you're very rural, it might be further. I mean, if you're in the middle of Australia, it's probably a lot further than 50 miles. But if you're close to some rural centre, then it's probably within 50 miles.
You have to understand, my whole family thinks I took the Kool-Aid. So I have to tell you, this has been a long journey. They think I'm nuts.
Well, that's good. Just let them keep on believe that. Because remember, with the NDA, we're not supposed to tell we're not allowed to tell people where we got the money from. So just say, "Oh, I just put some money on the horses and it came out well," or something like that, or
perfect,
I did a thing.
Okay.
All right. I don't want to hold anybody up. Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Doreen. Appreciate
Bye.
it. All right,
Bye.
Marilyn.
Okay. All right. First of all, I just want to make a quick comment. I'm going to talk about my dad. I love my dad. My dad passed away back in 1997, but he was a very, very intelligent man, even though he only had an 8th grade education. And my father used to tell me this all the time, and I tell people this all the time. Anything you see, anything you hear, and don't believe anything you see or read. And I'll tell you why you don't believe anything you see, only half of what you see, because it's a matter of perspective. You might be on the one side of the road, I'm going to be on the other side of the road. And what we see, if there's an accident in front of us, it's going to be per each person's perspective. And anything you read, of course, we all know not to see anything you read or hear, because you have 30 people in a group, and if you tell somebody something and it goes around to all those 30 people, it's not going to be the same when it gets back to you. So that's my advice. I thought my father's advice was very good, because I don't trust nobody. I trust God.
Yeah.
But I do believe in Billy. I do trust him. He's a very good man, and in Peter as well. I know Billy is a very good man of God. I can feel that in him. I can hear that in him, and I feel it in my heart with him. And so I do trust you, Billy.
Well,
so Billy, I did have a question, and this is not about the Zim or anything like that.
Yeah.
I had a question about the ivermectin. A few times ago, you were talking about the ivermectin, and you said that it treated diabetes.
Yes.
And I was wondering, how long do you have to take that? if you take the ivermectin to treat the diabetes.
Well, here is the thing. The ivermectin is a anti-parasitic drug. Okay. Most
Right.
disease is caused by parasites, and especially whenever you're talking about diabetes, the parasites invading and infecting the pancreas, which produces your body's natural insulin. Take the ivermectin as directed once every couple of days, I think it is. It's not an everyday thing, but I think it about 3 months. Okay, is what it, you know.
Okay.
Because you don't want to take it every day. Yeah.
Okay. I was on a call with Mahoney, and he's helping people get ivermectin, and what's the one that starts with H, hydro, whatever it is.
Hydrochloroquine.
And he was saying that, yes, and he was telling people that if they take that, the ivermectin should be one day, and the other one the next following day, and switch them up, take them every other day.
Right.
And so, okay, so but it's for 90 days. You should take it.
Yeah, I would say so, but you also need to do the corrections in your own diet as well. It's not a matter of it's the same old adage. You can go to confessional on Sunday and sin on Monday. You're not going to do yourself any good. Because what does the priest say? Go and sin no more. All right. Because so if you don't change your eating habits and whatnot, you're not doing yourself any good. Okay. You want to get rid of the things that are causing the parasites to be.
Sometimes you got to treat yourself.
Right. Sometimes treat yourself, of course. But think about what you're treating yourself with. All right. If you're going after the chips and dip all the time, all right, or if you're going after processed foods and things that aren't natural or not organic and whatnot, you're just reinfecting yourself. Does that make sense?
Well, the one thing that the one thing that I did not give up right away, and I didn't realize that it was so bad, was processed foods, with nitrates and all that. But I have stopped that kind of recently. But yeah, I have changed up my diet and everything, and I'm eating a lot more healthy. And I'm thank God that the white hats are getting rid of all these processed plants that are getting, and getting rid to healthier foods instead, because that's how we all need that.
There was something that I put
and I
up
think
on
that
my
was
Telegram.
my only question.
There was something that I put up on my Telegram channel yesterday. It's kind of hard to find in the chat, but it was all about how different foods create different things in your body as far as your pH level and everything is concerned. So there are things that you can eat that are good for you.
Difference to your diabetes as well?
Exactly. You want to eat more fruits and vegetables, okay? And you want to eat the darker the vegetable or the fruit, the better off it is for you. Okay. I'm trying to look for this here. I know I posted it here yesterday. Just give me just a second.
Well, I know that you eat white meat, chicken, and I don't eat much red meat anyway, and I don't eat a lot of red meat.
Actually, white meat chicken
more fish.
White meat chicken is actually not as good for you as dark meat chicken is concerned.
Really? My doctor told me to eat the white meat.
And do you know why dark meat is better for you? Because it has more natural fats in it than the white meat does. And they also inflate the white meat chicken in order to make it look better. They don't do it as much with the dark meat, the thighs, the legs, and things of that nature. But I don't listen to my doctor as much anymore because I found that in my own diet and whatnot, and once I start eating the natural fats from the chicken thighs, okay, that are inherent in it, it's a fattier meat, yes, but it has natural fats that are good for you in it, versus the chicken breast, which doesn't have near the amount of proteins doesn't have near the amount of good fats for you. And also, when you're cooking it, you got to be wary of how you cook. How you cook things. The oils that you use,
not frying and all that. Yeah,
don't use vegetable oils. Use the most natural oils that you can. If olive oil or something along those lines.
I always use olive oil. Yeah.
Yeah. Just stay away from the.
I say avocado oil is as good as
avocado
good too,
oil
but I don't know. I've never tried it.
Avocado oil is good. Coconut oil is good. Okay.
Yeah, I heard that, but I've never tried it.
But stay away
from grapeseed oil.
Grapeseed oil is good. Yes. Okay. But
I go a step further, and I say stay away from dairy as well. And I'm vegan, so I don't eat meats either, and I'm doing okay.
All right. It just depends on your metabolism.
Oh, you don't have any dairy?
No, I used to.
No dairy.
I can explain a little bit of a doctor who I trust greatly. Now he tells all his patients no dairy, and he bases it on the report from the China report. There was a massive report on the use of dairy on Chinese people. Millions took part in this study, and the conclusions were very clear as to the dangers of dairy. There's a good website on this called notmilk.com. If you go to notmilk.com, you'll learn a lot about that study and a lot of the background in.
What's the name of the site? I'm sorry.
Notmilk. NOTMILK.com.
All right, but thank you, Marilyn. Appreciate the comments here today.
Thank you. I appreciate your help and all your advice. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you.
Pleasure. Thank you. Cajun Girl, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to corroborate what the last caller just said. I absolutely think the two of you have the most wonderful positive energy. So I'm grateful, and I corroborate with that in my personal experience.
Well, thank you.
Oh, yeah, everybody can tell that. This is more of a comment on what Simon had to say. I was listening live to that, or as quick as I could, and that sort of got me to react. But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, they just talked about the fact that at Birmingham, they got their funding. So it's either the more people that apply through them, the more funding they get, or it's disinformation is necessary. So I just said, this isn't for me. I'm not going to take this personally. I already have my mind made up. And so I'm just going to let what doesn't apply to me go. And that's how I took that.
And that's what you have to do.
Yeah, totally. Especially in this age of so much confusion, because we are at an informational war, and we've been told that by so many different people. Just a little bit of personal experience. Whenever I found the drops, in my opinion, I've got a little bit of training in vision, remote viewing. I've got some training in. And when I remote viewed, I found that the information that the Q team was dropping was accurate. It felt accurate as far as I could tell. Now, in hindsight, we realized that some of it was not for us. It was actually for the enemies more than it was for us.
Correct.
But through the drops, you could go through the information and vet it with more information and see if it's true, rings true to you or not. I mean, that's how you get as many followers as you have, is because your information rings true and your personality is so wonderful and fun. But that everything felt very, very true. And I got up every morning excited to see what the next drop was and what can I learn now. Let me tell you, whenever that whole thing happened, and the live attack on January 6th, blah, 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 the big setup and all that, and Trump bowed out, it was hard. I cried and cried and cried, and I didn't know what to think. And there was a massive veil of confusion that fell over the country, and that fell over the plans of the white hats toward the enemy. And the enemy does that too. They use remote viewers to use their light working abilities to confuse the enemy. Well, the white hats have done the same thing. And let me tell you, the amount of training that the people have who have woven this this veil that has fallen over their plans. I mean, it's a high level of ability, whoever this group is that's doing this, these remote
Oh,
viewers.
yeah.
They're using their ability to obfuscate the plans so that remote viewers can't even follow. The
Right.
only thing I could think of, I cried the whole time. And I know everybody felt it, that the "Oh Biden" crap was being inaugurated. But then I started paying attention to all the signs. And during the time when the presidents, quote unquote, were standing at the Arlington Cemetery, and they weren't moving, and they stood there for like 20, 30 minutes staring down the bodies of people they put there, right?
Mhm.
If you look carefully, there was a boat that the camera kept cutting to that kept doing circles in the river of cues, and kept getting back to that boat. So I was
Right.
like, okay, this is a connection. And I started paying attention with a critical eye from every other vantage point. But whatever all of this information warfare and all this confusion, just keep your heads, keep your calm, keep your pull on the light, because not all for you, a lot of it's meant for the dark hats.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All
And
right.
that's about the best. To just take what resonates with you and let the rest go.
That's
Very
all we
interesting.
can. That's all we can do. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on. Kirky.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi,
hello.
Kirky.
First of all, I want to start with being so happy and grateful for all your support the last time we were together.
You're welcome.
And I would like to feed you in with the latest. I was confused with the time because I've been doing so many things. On Thursday when we spoke, it was on Wednesday, the previous day, that it was the first time that Nicholas asked for an enema.
Okay. Yes.
On Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and today, we did twice a day. He did twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And this afternoon, he surprised me waiting in his car to go and feed the cats together.
Nice.
Right. That we haven't been out, or he hasn't been driving for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now, or even I've lost counting. Despite that, I mean, he has shown some improvement, and he hasn't had any pain today, or very little. But of course, tomorrow is that we're expecting to see the oncologist, and I don't know what is going to happen, because they are going to go along with the results that they have read from Wednesday's examination.
Right.
Scan.
Right.
Never mind. I think everything, I pray that everything will fall into place. And the main thing is that I would love really to have the announcement of the med beds, to have the chance for him to overcome, I mean, to skip all the chemo and everything that they may suggest. Anyway, thank you for your ears, for your listening.
And continue prayers for Nicholas, and continue, healing thoughts for him. We're
what I would like to see is the following: that Nicholas gets better, and then he comes on this show and tells us his story himself, and he says, just to say maybe thank you, or I'm feeling better. Just that we get a chance to see Nicholas, and that see that it's all turned out for the best.
Yes, I'm. Thank you, Peter, for saying that. Yes, indeed. Now,
does he speak good English, Nicholas?
No, I will be here to translate.
All right, okay. Because my Greek is non-existent.
That's okay. What about the all the things that are happening now, and we are expecting every day to get closer to the redemption centers and everything. I just have a concern that I haven't had the chance to get precisely the calculation and everything that needed to be for the project. It's not vague, but it's not with calculations of cost and everything. So anyway, I will just have to go along with the as things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, you can only get it so close. I mean, when you're trying to put all these numbers and crunch all these numbers together and whatnot, really, it's going to be a guesstimate because we know the pricing is going to change. We know things, you know, are going to change around the world as far as services are concerned. We know that there's going to be 6,000 technologies that get released and whatnot, and some of that stuff is going to alleviate a lot of the things that we're feeling, and maybe even alleviate some of the projects that we're thinking of. So we're kind of guessing at this, and I think that's, you know, a best guesstimate is what you're going to have to roll with. Okay.
I think the story is one of the most important things, that you present a story they can understand within a few minutes, and all the numbers is something they may look at later, or they may not. They may, because I think they have so many projects to look at. They can't look at everyone in such great detail. They just don't have the manpower.
Right.
The one thing that I'm sorry about is that I was visualizing one or two pieces of land that are very near in the area, and I found out by phoning to some people who are in anyway related, and they are not available. So anyway, this is also going to be a divine
augment plans. Yeah, you know, plans get augmented. It's a fluid situation. You know, you just have to find another place. It will present itself, and it'll probably be better than what you thought.
Exactly. Thank you, Billy, for the thought. It's exactly what you, as you say. And the last thing is, last week, just because you were saying about the NDA, and with the close people in our environment, I have my younger brother whom, I mean, on top of everything else that I'm going through at this present moment, he was full of irony about I am hoping and thinking that something is going to fall out of the sky and I will have all the money that I want and everybody's going to be paid. So I said, get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't let negativity, you know, come into your life.
Right.
Don't let it do it.
We don't have time for negativity, you know.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Anyway, I'm very grateful and thank you again. And
all right. But thank you, Kirky. God bless you, and continued healing prayers for Nicholas. All right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. All right. And Barbara, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
What was that film you were looking at just now? You had some 35mm film.
Oh, I am trying to digitize all of our family's photos and slides, and I've got several tens of thousands I've already scanned.
Yeah,
so.
that's
a fun thing to do.
I have a lot to do there. I have a cellar full of photographs waiting to be scanned, and it's a long, laborious job.
Yes, it is. I hope my siblings all appreciate how much it.
Yeah, they probably won't. They'll just look at it. For them, it'll just be another picture. Yeah?
Well, so anyway, I know there's a lot of people saying, eat this, don't eat this. This is good. This is bad. And I just wanted to throw out a word of caution. Just for example, you just mentioned dark vegetables are always good. I am not allowed to eat dark or green leafy vegetables because I have a blood clotting issue.
Right. Yeah. There
So
are certain things you have to be careful of, for sure.
You know, I caution putting these blanket statements saying, eat this, eat this, eat this, you know, because everyone's got different issues, and, you know, I don't know. It kind of caught me. I'm like, oh, good. Peter or Billy's trying to kill me by making me eat vegetables.
No.
To be,
No.
You know,
Billy was-
if it hurts you, then don't do it. Okay, that's the basic.
I know,
basic thought behind that.
I get kind of upset with the cookie cutter. Oh, this is good. This is good. This is good. Do not eat this.
No.
It,
You have to listen to
you know.
your own body for sure.
yes.
Oh, what about God, Billy? When he tells me to eat carrot cake, should I still listen to that?
Well, that's something that I wouldn't know about. I don't know the Tao of carrot cake. So
Well,
if anybody can explain to me the Tao of carrot cake, that would be appreciated.
Well,
Okay.
now if you're in some kind of Garden of Eden and someone offers you an apple, I'd be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Okay.
yeah, unless it's wrapped in caramel, then I know it's okay.
Caramel and peanuts, right? Yeah, exactly.
No, just caramel.
Just caramel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
But
Thanks.
thank you, Barbara. Appreciate it. All
I
right.
eat parrots and they're great. Yep.
Yep. Patriot Pete. Hello, Pete.
Patriot Pete.
How are you
right.
guys?
Good. How are you?
We're doing great here. I think you guys are doing a terrific job keeping us informed. There are times I'm sure a lot of us feel like, come on already. But, like I said, you've been able to help us keep the peace. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple of quick questions with the Zim.
Yeah.
I know they're for projects. My question is, I have a bunch of different things I want to use the money for. For example, there's a farm that we have here where I live here in West Palm Beach in Florida, where they take in rescue animals like horses, donkeys. And what they do is they have it so that children can come and, get used to being around the animals, seeing the animals, just a very friendly environment. And they have challenges. I support them as much as I can, but I thought, you know what, if I set up a fund or something like they do with something similar to what they do with not diplomas, what do they call those things? It figures now. I can't remember the word.
Grants.
Grants.
No, yeah, like a grant sort of thing where not even like a grant, but more like a high school. What they give the high schoolers for college when they.
Well, diplomas or graduation degrees or whatever,
Scholarship.
Yeah, well, they're giving them money.
Scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
the way
Barbara.
they set up scholarships. Hey, listen, I'm not rocket scientist. What can I tell you? But they set up like scholarships. But in order to do that, what they do is they take a lump sum, put it in a bank, and the interest produces enough money for the scholarships. In other words, that money never moves, but the interest pays for the scholarships. And I want to do something similar to that with this farm and say, look, there's going to be this much money in this account. You can't touch that, but the interest payments are going to be able to pay for all the expenses to run that operation. Is that something that they might look into, might want to do? Is that
can I ask you a question? Can you just get a simple thing that explains what they do, okay, how they do it, all right, their mission statement behind for whatever they do, all right, and then ask them really simply what it costs to run your place for a year, just a ballpark figure. Don't get into any specifics. All right. Sure. And then ask them about that and present that as a humanitarian project. And whatever they say it is for a year, just double it and then plan to fund it for 25 years, 25, 30 years. Okay.
Okay.
And just go in with that simple thing and say, I think this is a worthwhile project. All right. And there are plenty of people out there who have worthwhile projects that are educational. All right. That help families bond together. All right. That help, put things into perspective that are, would not necessarily be profit makers or whatnot, but are very, very helpful in getting people to communicate with each other in order to get families to better bond together. And that's what that is all about. All right. Whether the business turns a profit or not doesn't matter. All right.
Right.
It's the idea is to bring people together and show them something and help them build something that they wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise.
Now, this is
Yes,
something.
perfect.
This is basically
That's-
the Zim bonds are working like that. That when you present a project, they also put money aside, and you get the interest paid out, and the money basically stays in the bank. So
Right.
that is actually part of what's probably going to happen with the Zim bonds. They call it tranching, where you get a monthly payment or a quarterly payment, whatever it's
Okay.
arranged, over a longer period. And the other thing is, if you're the one who wants to give the money to this whichever this organization is, don't tell them it's coming from the Chinese elders or from Zim bonds or anything like
Right.
that, because that's going to be under a NDA. Just say that you are coming into money and that you will be financing this. That's all they need to know.
Right, and again, I'm not even gonna let them know that it's coming from me. I think I'm just gonna say, hey, listen, there's an organization I'm working with, and don't ask any questions, but here's the money, it's perfectly legal, etc. Just want to make sure to take care, because they're doing a good thing. And like I said, it's a nonprofit, and every day that goes by, there's another one. I'm like, let me write this one down too, because I like to support them as well.
That's
so
right.
yeah, I'm loving that we can do this, man. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
All you need to say is just call it manna from God.
Yes, exactly. That's what so,
that's all you need to say. It's just manna from God.
Exactly. And I just wanted to tell Kirky that listen, with the translating in Greek, I'm fluent in Greek too, so I can help you as well.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Thank you, Pete.
That's what we're here for. We'll help each other, right?
All right. Love the artwork behind you. That's great stuff.
I'm in a campaign, believe it or not, and I wanted something good in the background. I'm actually running for Congress in the U.S. So,
but the
so
problem,
I didn't want to bring that up, but that's all my stuff.
You are running for Congress.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Well,
in South Florida,
congratulations.
Yeah, we need a patriot. We need a patriot up there. So we need a lot of patriots up there.
Yeah,
all right.
But isn't there a problem with Greek horses? I think in history, isn't there this famous big wooden horse which was put outside?
The Trojan horse, yeah.
A Trojan horse.
Yeah. And be careful of Greeks bearing gifts. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
That's right. That's right. Well,
but that's okay. We're going to turn the tables on that one. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. My gift to Congress is going to be. I'm presenting myself as a gift, and more. You don't know what's coming right behind me. Because like I said,
the Trojan horse.
Trojan horse, man. So I'm going to go in there with my people, and we're going to fix this, man. We're going to do the best we can and change the direction. So again, didn't want to talk about. I want to talk about what you guys are doing. They're doing a great job.
That's okay,
Pete. Everything that you're doing, guys.
Good luck with you. Good luck with it. Keep us apprised on what's going on down there. Okay.
Absolutely.
I will. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Nobody else has got their hand raised right now. Jim, you had your hand raised earlier. Go ahead, Jim. Jim Dixon.
Hello there. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Jim?
Good. Sunny here, about 80-some degrees. And want to thank you both for everything you do and the information and everything. I was kind of wondering when martial law does come, everything gets shut down, transportation, schools, businesses. How do you think the thousands of people that will be traveling, will they be able to, you think, be able to give like a day to get home? Or I wonder how that's going to work.
I am sure that whenever you talk to the redemption people, okay, they will make arrangements for it to be close to your home. Just tell them you're traveling and tell them that you'll be home on X date and you'd like it to be on X date afterwards.
That's right.
Okay. I'm sure they'll be very accommodating as far as that is concerned.
Well, within limits. I mean, the first contact is basically to make the appointment, and then it's up to you to negotiate with them when and where that appointment is. But it's probably going to be not long. I mean, there's only a small window where we're going to get this money. So don't ask for an appointment in 3 months or something. It's going to be days, not months.
Okay. But thank you, Jim.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. Pleasure, Jim. Thank you. Jerry Williams. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I have a question for Peter.
Right.
In our town down here in southern Bavaria, the EZ card machines aren't working.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to use cash, only cash down here.
Yeah.
You think that's related to anything about the Deutsche Bank failure or something?
You're talking about credit card machines. You can't pay by credit cards or debit cards. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
Now there is a company in Germany, one of the major suppliers of such companies, which has reported technical errors or problems. This has been even on the mainstream media news, that a lot of people, particularly going to shops like DM or Netto or some of the major chains, have been unable to pay because they use this certain brand of machines, and they were just not working. They were talking about technical issues. Now, the timing of this problem seems to be a little bit suspect. I think it could be related to the switch over to the new system, and that's just not being admitted as the reason. They're just saying it's software errors causing this. But why would such a major company make changes to their system which is not thoroughly tested? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they never told anybody, and people are rolling up with baskets of groceries, and they're being turned back.
Yeah, it happened to my wife. She went to the DM market here in Cologne, and she put a whole load of stuff in a basket and just wanted to pay with her card. And she said, "Sorry, we can't accept your money." And she had to put a few things back and could only buy which she had enough cash in her pocket for. So yeah, so she's personally had that problem. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people in Germany that some bank machines are not working at the moment.
Interesting. I also have a comment about this controversy with Flynn and what's its name?
Linwood.
Mm-hmm.
Linwood. There was a Navy SEAL on David Rodriguez's show. He spent 2 hours exposing Linwood as a fraud. 2 hours.
I'm not going to get into it, Jerry. I don't want to stir up any controversy and say one way or another. You believe who you want to believe. Okay. You follow who you want to follow. People who are bringing up other people and trying to call other people out, I think, are working on a much lower vibration and are ego-centered and not heart-centered. That's all I have to say about that.
For what it's worth, I think both Linwood and General Flynn have done good things for our people, and I think there's just some kind of misunderstanding between the two. And I just say, well, let them sort it out between themselves. They both have done good things for us, and I just leave it at that.
After the evidence from this Navy SEAL, I think Linwood's a fraud. I'll leave it there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been following that particular story very much, so I don't know all the details.
Right.
But I've seen a lot of Linwood's talks, his speeches, and they've been very heartfelt, and he seems to be a very religious person and
exactly.
very much wanting to do the right thing.
All right. The only thing I'm going to say about all of this is this: remember the parable about Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Okay, let he who has no sin cast the first stone. Period. All right. People who are throwing stones better stop, because they're going to get those stones thrown back to them if they aren't careful.
Yeah.
And let's just leave it at that. Okay.
Don't throw stones in glass houses, I think is the expression.
Exactly. But thank you for the comments, Jerry. Appreciate it. Going back to Barbara real quick.
I had a question.
Yes.
I see a lot of stuff posted about frequency and vibration.
Yep.
And listen to this music because it has a whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, none of it's like modern music. Is there an app or a device or a something that I can play a song I like and find out what the frequency or vibration is? There's got to be.
Well,
right?
There is music which is classified as 423. I think 43 is the number.
432.
432 hertz music.
547, 777, 999.
Right.
All of these different frequencies and harmonics that can help you raise your vibration and whatnot. Most popular music is done at 432. All right. Now, the thing you have to remember is that sometimes radio stations, whenever you listen to them, to make their things brighter on the radio stations, they will actually speed up the music, which makes the harmonics different. All right. They actually speed it up. And whenever you listen to the original album version, it is much slower and at a different frequency. Because as you speed up the music, like you would on a turntable, if everybody remembers the old turntables, okay, that have the speed control on them, you can actually lower or raise the speed of the tune, which changes the harmonics of the music. Does that make sense?
It does, but I have certain songs, it depends on my mood, that make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea what sometimes it's because it reminds me of something, I guess, or sometimes just because I really like the beat or the whatever.
Well,
I'd love to know what frequency or vibration those
are.
Well,
music is a very emotional thing, and it affects different people. I like the way I used to have a cat, and I used to see which music the cat liked. And it was quite interesting that it was more sort of the harmonious music, which liked. But I think very much so. I would look at the 432 hertz music, listen to some of that, and just see how you feel to that, and see if that has a positive effect, and then compare that to music which is not on 432. In other words, the other. I can't remember the frequency now, and then just see how you feel to that, and then just. Because you know what frequencies they are being played at, you can then see what effect it personally has on you, and I think that would be a good thing to compare.
Yeah, Karen, Audacity does not. Karen put in there Audacity, which is one of the music programs that I'm familiar with. It does not actually show you what the frequency of the music is. Okay, you have to actually feel the music. All right. And if something is making you feel good, all right, then go with that. All right. Just be wary of the words that are coming out of the music, because you can have something that makes you feel good, but also be demonic at the same time. You don't want to be opening up a time portal, all right, in your own self, because music is time travel. All right. It takes you where you want to be. All right, to a particular place in time or in memory that makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel good. So music can actually open up a portal for you to travel through. Does that make sense?
To some degree, yes. But I also think how you interpret the song. There used to be a song, "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time."
Yeah.
And my niece,
yeah.
Okay, my niece thought it was "Pick Me," like at recess when you pick teams, and she would sing "Pick Me, Baby," and I was like, "Oh, I thought we were playing blackjack." Hit me one more.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the old Creedence Clearwater Revival song. There's a bad moon on the rise. Okay, people always used to think, well, there's a bathroom on the right. No, it's not. Bathroom on the right, it's bad moon on the rise. Okay. And people used to think, Jimi Hendrix used to say, "Excuse me while I kiss this guy." Okay, instead of "Excuse me while I kiss the sky." Okay. You have to pay attention,
or read the lyrics,
and read the lyrics, right?
Yeah, or just what's wrong with just having your own lyrics?
Well, write your own music. Why not?
What?
Or,
No,
you know,
I'm just, I don't think my niece was adversely affected when she was singing "Pick Me, Baby" one more time.
right. Yeah. No.
Even though it's not what Brittany was saying, when she sang the song, that's what it meant.
Yeah.
To her.
Right.
But I mean, you may not want to explain what the original meaning is. So if they're saying "pick me," it's a young person, then maybe just leave it at that.
Right.
Well, right. So, again,
you can look up and do simple searches on different pieces of music and find out what the frequency it was recorded at. There's plenty of random searches out there that you can do. Just pick a song and say, "Yesterday" by the Beatles. What is the frequency of it? Okay. All right. And just and it will tell you what frequency it's actually tuned at. Okay.
Because most of the music I've seen you guys post, there's no words. How am I supposed to sing? That's why I don't like classical music. I can't
make up your own words.
Make up your
own words. Yeah. I mean, frequency is something I've been involved with for a very long time because I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been involved in resonance therapy since the 90s, that long. And I run websites about Rife resonance therapy, RIFE, spelled like that. So the word rife.de is one of my website, or rifeforum.com is the website. So I've been talking about using frequency in healing in a forum with, I think, about 15,000 people for a long time. Now, the use of frequencies in music is one aspect of that, and I'll tell you where that is being used, and that is in the hydration app. That also uses music with frequencies embedded into the soundtrack.
Right.
So it's not just the music, but also hidden frequencies in the soundtrack, which have a positive effect on your well-being.
Okay.
And Professor Emoto.
We can talk more about this offline. Okay. All right. Talk to you soon. All right. Donna P.
There he goes.
Hey, hi. How's it going?
Great.
Good.
And you?
Great. Thank you. I have been recently watching videos on BitChute about the tribunals and the execution, the different people. Then they'll have some nice notes in there about what was said and what they were charged with and so on. My question is, do you all see in our future that this information will be put out to the public in a fashion that they can understand? Because, yeah, I know that the Queen of England, I believe, was given a pass on execution because she agreed to this or that. But if that's the case, and she'll retain her status or legacy.
And,
yeah. And if that's the case, how are we going to expose the truth about what has been happening?
I think I can answer this one. Look at the World War II. What happened there? Because we've already been through the situation. And in the end of the day, it did come out. The tribunals were, in fact, I think there's going to be movies about what's happening now, and what has happened, and I think it is going to come out, but it's going to come out over time, and all the things which are hidden now, just like in Hitler's Germany, the people back then. That's why I'm a little bit amazed at maybe amazed is the wrong word, surprised at how the Germans are reacting, because Germany's already been through this. Admittedly, it was a long time ago, but before the Second World War, the same kind of things were happening then as are happening now, with even with vaccines, even with masks, and also this whole thing about, you're a conspiracy theorist. They didn't say those particular words, but basically you can't be believed or whatever. This was all part of the propaganda, which is being repeated now. And a lot of things happened back then, which are being repeated. now in a way. But at the end of the day, once the war was over, then the side which wins, which we're very much hoping is the White Hats, will be releasing stories and films and books and explaining more and more what really happened, because it's going to be an educational process. And so I very much do believe that we will be hearing about this in the future, but it may be a few years away before we see it all.
Right. And once you start revealing the truth to people, there's going to be a lot of people who just won't believe it. You know, there's going to be about 10% of the population that just goes, no way, no way, no way, don't believe it. And they're going to be lost forever.
Well, what happened in Germany after the Second World War is that the Germans themselves had lost their self-esteem, because they could see and understand. And I could see that they had been lied to and they'd fallen for the lie, and it became almost a taboo topic that they just couldn't talk about. I when I came to Germany, which was a long time ago, I met a lot of people who had been through the war and spoke to them, and also to their children, and their children knew very little about what their parents did during the war, because it was such a taboo topic, and people were just ashamed of what had happened and that they had fell for it. And I think a lot of that is probably going to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But thank you for the comments there, Donna. Last one here today, Sherry 45. Go ahead, Sherry. Sherry?
Okay. I'm excited because I'm about to speak. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Fine. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. I'm a huge fan.
You're very welcome.
Speak on your show.
We're just normal people, Sherry. Okay, we're just normal people.
If you're a great fan, can you switch on your camera so we can see what our fan looks like?
Yes. Can I figure out how? Okay.
There she is.
Oh, there you are. That's great.
All right. So I like to be 5D and be spiritual, and I agree with 99% of what you guys say.
That's a lot.
Back before Twitter suspended me permanently, I was following Linwood at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
Still excited because I'm about to speak, using a Mel Robbins technique here. So he was dropping truth bombs at 4 a.m. on Chief Justice Roberts and on Pence.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a history following him for over 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So this controversy, you have to understand that he has accused Flynn of being a traitor and of being the head of the cabal. So for me, that's not something we can just go spiritual on and stay out of an argument. That's like, you know, Hillary and all the rest of them that need a rope around their neck for being a traitor.
Yeah.
So if we can't discuss this openly in the truth community, imagine how these people asleep are going to feel when we start telling them these.
I'm not saying I'm not saying that you're
bad.
I'm not saying it's not something worth discussion. Okay. What I'm saying is that when people start taking sides, all right, then we start having a problem. All right. Whenever somebody has come in and they've said, I believe only Lynn Wood, and I'm not going to do anything but bash Mike Flynn. Okay. You've taken a side at that point. All right. What I'm saying is I'm taking neither side. I think both gentlemen have gone off the deep end as far as their egos are concerned. Okay. And more about puffery and as far as inflating their own stance than they are about actually finding the truth and actually doing good in society. All right. I find a lot of people doing that. They're using nothing but puffery. All right, in order to puff themselves up to make their own stature great. That is a 3D reality concept. All right, what we're trying to do is we're trying to break out of the 3D matrix and rise above it. All right, and people throwing slings and arrows at each other, all right, and doing nothing but causing controversy is doing nothing to forward the movement. It's not. All right, so if you're going to take a side, great, take your side, all right, but then state your point, All right. And let's have an open discussion about it without somebody saying, well, I only believe in Lynn Wood. You have taken a side at that point.
No, I mean, I followed this. Yeah, I followed that to a certain extent. And Lynn Wood is a very emotional person. And sometimes emotional people or emotions can cloud your judgment. But I also think Lynn Wood is a clever lawyer or politician. So it is rather confusing what has happened. I think something has happened between the two in the background, which has caused bad blood between them. And just like when a married couple fall out, they start hurling abuse at each other, which any third person would see in a different light. So I don't know what it is which happened between the two, but I think it's a little bit more like a lover's tiff than than anything else. Not that they're lovers of wherever lovers or anything like that, but I'm just trying to say the emotions are maybe clouding the judgment somewhere.
I hope it's as you say, but to the caller before, I'm a Nino investigator also. He's one of my favorite podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and said, I'm taking that video down. It's caused a lot of controversy. And Nino doesn't put everything on that he necessarily is his opinion. He lets both people have their say. I wish Lynn would go on there and have his say.
Yeah.
So if it's this hard in the truther community for us to investigate things and imagine what it's going to be like if they give us those, 8-hour videos 3 times a day, how it's going to be.
Well, get a hold of them. Bring them both on here. Let's have it out right now.
That's right. Invite them both to our shows.
Get Lynn Wood and Mike Flynn to come on here, and we'll have a debate between them, and we'll air out all the dirty laundry here for everybody to see. Get it all out in the open, okay, with shit stains everywhere. All right, and let's get it out in the open. Let's finally do it.
I think we would be balanced and give them both equal time to talk and take a neutral point of view from our point of view, certainly.
Well, yeah.
And then we use our own discernment.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's the best way.
Right.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking my question. I love the show.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Marilyn wanted to weigh in one more time. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Okay, I had a question about the Zims. I was told they were bearer bonds. And if that's the case, then why would we need to go to a redemption center? Couldn't we just turn them into a bank and get the exchange?
The dong, dinar, bolivar, and other currencies can be exchanged at a bank. All right. But the Zim note is something special. It has to have an appointment in order to be exchanged.
That's right. Yeah, it comes from a different source. It's paid for from a different pot, if you like, and it has to be associated with humanitarian projects. And the people giving the money want to see you in person and check that you're honest and of a good person and that your project is sound, and that you can't trust to a banker. Bankers are just not necessarily have the best history as opposed to things. So yes, there is a reason for people to have to go to redemption centers to Zim bonds, and I thoroughly support that.
I appreciate that answer. I really do.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up here today. Appreciate it. Peter, any final thoughts on the day?
Yes, we had a member on the forum write a comment, which I commented on the Telegram group. Her comment was, "Gee, it sure would be good to know why you guys waste your time on something that more than likely will never happen. Trying to think of what you might gain to keep people on edge is what you're doing enjoyable." Which I thought was an interesting comment, in that it was very much 3D, very much sort of showing frustration. And I wrote what I think a good answer to that, basically saying that we are here for a reason. We're very much here to help people. I certainly think that a lot of the projects I've been involved in my past totally unrelated projects have suddenly come together in what we're doing here, because my ability to edit videos, or my ability to speak, or my ability to analyze quite separate things come together as a combination in this job. And also, Billy and I, we are both very much here to help you guys and get us all through this redemption process. And I think we both have done a lot of deep research, and I can certainly speak for myself. I'm very sure that this redemption is going to happen, and it's going to happen soon, probably in June. I can't guarantee that, but probably in June it's going to happen.
Well, the timelines are all coming together right now. I mean, we are 7 days out from Pentecost. Pentecost is next Sunday. And what is happening over this current week? The Queen's Jubilee. All right. What else is happening? The Sussman trial verdict. What else is happening? We're having more trials, more hearings on the Hunter Biden laptop story, and the fact that Joe Biden has been implicated in everything. It's all starting to come together.
That's right. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You start off with tons of little pieces, all disconnected, and one by one you find a piece which matches the other pieces. And we are getting to the point where we have 2 or 3 pieces left, and it's not going to be that difficult to find the place for those pieces. And I think that's where we are. We're very close to the picture being complete, and that's where we are. And I think it's very exciting times. And but when we get the RV, that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning, because that's when we move on to the next phase of actually creating the humanitarian projects. That's when we take responsibility. In the past, it was the elite, the rich, the super rich, who were telling us all what we should be doing. Whether, working for them, working for their companies, helping them to become rich, maybe doing something good because obviously they have to have a product which people want to buy. But in the end of the day, it's often been about the bottom line for the super rich. And that is changing. Those super rich are going to have lost a lot of their funds, or maybe all of their funds. And instead, it's going to be us, the people with Zim bonds, being given tons of money. And we are the ones then out there creating the projects which is going to create the new future. Now, not all of us are going to be good people. And I think the people who start being nefarious and doing bad things are going to lose their funds. But there's going to be a hell of a lot of people with honest to God, real projects who have had this dream all their life and finally get the funds to do and the ability to do it. And I think that is what this is all about.
I agree wholeheartedly. But thank you all, folks, for showing up today. We're going to be putting a poll out there as far as what dates we should do these things on. Is Sunday good? Is Thursday good? Is the timing right? And whatnot. When's a good time for people to join us? Maybe doing some other things, where it's a little bit more convenient. But we'll let you know about that. But thank you all for showing up. We'll see you on Thursday. Okay.
That's right. And remember, next week the show is not on Sunday. It is going to be on Monday.
That is correct, because Peter will be traveling.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
It'll be a very interesting show, I think. It'll be another special.
All right. But thank you all for showing up today.
Thanks again.
God bless.
Bye.
God bless.
Great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.